Clean campaign. I beat Hillary Clinton easily. He just said it's not Russia. I will say this, I don't see any reason why it would be.
赫尔辛基双普会早已落幕，随之而来的风波却未曾平息。他是《纽约时报》专栏作家弗里曼，曾经3度荣获普利兹新闻奖。16日的双普会是他记者生涯30多年来最难以置信的一场恶峰会。
You know, what was clear to anyone watching the press conference, that two things really, Anderson. One, that there was no clear-cut agenda for this conference, and if there were clear-cut achievements, the two leaders haven't shared them either with the public or, it seems, with many of their aides. And secondly, the president clearly, was standing there taking the side of the Russian president against the conclusions of his own intelligence agency and seemed to be trying to ingratiate himself as if it was America's job to be nice to Russia after Russia has attacked our democracy, been found culpable for shooting down a civilian airliner over Ukraine, basically covertly invaded Ukraine, seized Crimea, has been involved in a genocide in Syria. How is it that, sure, I want good relations with Russia, but how is it our job to be sucking up to them? He has some kind of dictatorship envy and was, as I say, clearly in awe of Putin. And it was really embarrassing for every American citizen. And obviously, when you see the reaction today, finally embarrassing to his own party.
I want to read a quote from a column that you wrote in the New York Times in which you say, there's overwhelming evidence that our president, for the first time in our history, is deliberately or through gross negligence or because of his own twisted personality, engaged in treasonous behavior that violates his oath of office to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. I mean, treason is obviously a very specific word. You truly believe that he meets that bar?
Oh, absolutely. He is either compromised by the Russians or he's an even bigger ignoramus than any of us fully understands, or he's such a twisted narcissist that inside his head is just a series of mirrors that he is constantly looking into, that he cannot see out the front of his eyes what is going on there and see things through the interest of anything other than Donald J. Trump.
Russian pundits delighted. No real challenge from Trump of Putin over Russia's alleged meddling in his election.
Well, can you imagine tomorrow's headline of the New York Times? It seems to me that it will be easy. I wanted Trump to win. This is what Putin said.
俄罗斯军事专家费根豪尔关注的是两人没有对外公开的那2小时密会。
I don't believe that in their 2 hours of talks in Helsinki, the two presidents spoke about the election meddling longer than 5 minutes, most likely less. It's not something that is really of interest to any of them. They were discussing things that they are both have interest in, real interest, like Iran, Iranian influence in Syria and Iran in general, Middle East, Israel, and Ukraine for Russia.
I also emphasized the importance of placing pressure on Iran to halt its nuclear ambitions and to stop its campaign of violence throughout the area, throughout the Middle East. As we discussed at length, the crisis in Syria is a complex one. Cooperation between our two countries has the potential to save hundreds of thousands of lives. I also made clear that the United States will not allow Iran to benefit from our successful campaign against ISIS. We have just about eradicated ISIS in the area.
It would seem to be Putin, but I would believe most likely everybody lost. Because if this encourages Trump to go for Iran together with Israel and Saudi Arabia, put so much pressure on Iran that they tried to close the Strait of Hormuz as they have threatened. We go into a major Middle Eastern war. And Putin uses the occasion to take Ukraine, impose his will on Ukraine. And we could be in a very, very dangerous world coming up after Helsinki.
I just want to show you the moment again. Director of National Intelligence Dan Coats taken aback at today's summit news.
Breaking news, the White House has announced on Twitter that Vladimir Putin is coming to the White House in the fall.
Say that again? Okay.
Yeah.
So people laugh, but when you think about it, it's not really much of a laughing matter. It says something about how decisions are made at the White House.
I think Putin is getting exactly what he wants. I mean, he set up the conditions for the meeting. He got Trump to agree to meet alone, by the way. Trump said he didn't want leaks, but he